Morbius opens up on April 1st, ironically on April Fool's Day, and I would be a fool to actually see it on opening day. I got to admit, I'm not exactly in a hurry to see it, as I'm sure some fans probably are. It's honestly a movie nobody pretty much asked for, and is basically here to give some Marvel fans something to work with until Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness opens. And that will pretty much do better than Morbius anyway. I also think it doesn't help that the Sony Spider-Man universe is kind of without vision. They call it a Spider-Man universe, but as far as I can tell, there's actually no Spider-Man in sight. Background images and cameos and stuff like that, they don't count. Between this and the Venom movies, which I'm honestly not a fan of because they come off as kind of sloppy, especially the first one, it doesn't exactly raise my faith that the Sony Spider-Man universe will actually do well or is completely worth my attention. Not that the MCU's Phase 4 has completely impressed me so far. WandaVision built up to something that could have been great, but it let me down at the end. Falcon Winter Soldier's existence was merely to cement that Sam Wilson is the new Captain America, even though I pretty much got that hint at the end of Avengers Endgame. Black Widow was a joke of a movie. Loki was a mixed bag, but had an ending I think actually matters in the long run. What If was poorly written. Shang-Chi was a decent movie that I might get on DVD, but it has a pretty cliched MCU ending. Eternals is a woke pile of garbage. Hawkeye is okay, but not perfect. It should have been darker. I have no faith that Ms. Marvel will do well, and I'm still not sure about Moon Knight. And it seems like Spider-Man No Way Home was so far the only phenomenal thing about MCU Phase 4. So yeah, it seems like the best things in the MCU were in the Infinity Saga, and Phase 4 is like the leftovers that went bad in the fridge, with the exception of No Way Home. Even the Sony Spider-Man universe's future line of movies don't have me completely intrigued. We're getting a Kraven the Hunter movie, but he's not fighting Spider-Man. But hey, at least we're finally getting the Chameleon in a movie, after me begging and begging for the Chameleon to show up for years. Seems like a missed opportunity at this point. We're getting a Madam Web movie, which I don't think will hold up well. Venom 3 will release sometime, and then there's Silk, which I honestly just don't care about, and then some other untitled project. So yeah, Marvel hasn't really hyped me all that much in the past year or two. It seems like for the Sony Spider-Man universe, that Sony is merely finding characters associated with Marvel and making adaptations just because they can. And that results in messes like the Venom movies and of course now Morbius. Also, Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming is in Morbius just because he can be, I guess. Honestly, I think for the SSU to continue, some kind of Spidey needs to show up so this can stay relevant. I think if they retcon possibly the Amazing Spider-Man movies into the SSU so that Andrew Garfield can actually fight some of these villains, then maybe I might be intrigued. After all, in No Way Home it was revealed that he hasn't fought any sort of aliens, like Tobey Maguire fought the Venom symbiote, Tom Holland obviously went into space, he was on Titan, he was fighting Thanos. So I think the Venom symbiote with Tom Hardy would be a great way of incorporating that. While we got part of the symbiote left over in MCU, I think Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 will essentially either do this. They'll give that symbiote to Mac Gargan, or they'll just have him do the black suit, or maybe they'll do both. And then Tom Hardy's Venom, who has most of the symbiote, can just go fight Andrew Garfield. I feel like No Way Home probably could have had a full Sinister Six without having to do a separate movie. Or perhaps if Sony actually does decide to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3, which has pretty much a 50-50 chance of happening, then they can fulfill promise left over from Andrew Garfield's last solo movie, in which that was setting up Sinister Six, but then that never happened. As far as Tobey Maguire goes, I'm confident that he will return, but I think given his age and the fact that he already had a somewhat complete trilogy, that the idea of him getting his own Spider-Man 4 seems kind of unlikely, as much as I'd like to see something like that. And I think that's more unlikely than the chance of an Amazing Spider-Man 3. Due to Sam Raimi being the director of the Doctor Strange sequel, I think a cameo there is possible, but if Tobey Maguire is to return for more Marvel movies, it will probably be nothing more than cameos. It's also possible if an Avengers 5 were to happen, and if it would adapt any or both versions of Secret Wars, then it can just incorporate the battle world and he could potentially show up there. Yet again, that's just speculation. But yeah, back to Morbius. I just feel like it's a movie I never really wanted. Morbius was never my favorite Spider-Man villain to begin with, and the fact that he was getting a movie before, well, a lot of villains, I don't know. And this negative reception surrounding the film doesn't really help with that. I'm also not in a hurry to see something like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but the fact that I would rather see that over a Marvel property should begin to tell you something. I think the SSU honestly has produced something miraculous for somebody like me to stay invested. So try ditching Morbius and try again. And maybe this time actually include a Spider-Man so it can stay relevant. Hey, that's all for the day. If you did see Morbius, tell me your thoughts, or if you want to debate me and tell me I'm 100% wrong, you're welcome to do that. One more thing I thought about before editing this video was the idea of a Transformers multiverse. Obviously, DC Comics and Marvel have their own, because that's just what they do. But with Transformers and its many movies and 6 gazillion shows and adaptions, you would think a No Way Home or Secret War scenario with Transformers franchise is possible. They wouldn't have to necessarily call it the multiverse per se, but I think I would find it intriguing to see that they can bring back most of the old shows so they can stay relevant, as some of them are honestly forgotten. You know, I think it'd just be cool if they brought them in for one big event. I think it would be cool if characters from G1 can meet up with Beast Wars characters and then mesh up with Transformers movie universe and then bring in Transformers Prime. And then you can even bring the old robots in disguise into perspective, and then they can meet other counterparts from additional continuities. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. It's just a thought. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I would estimate that my planned radio drama will be in work several months from now, so unfortunately it is longer from then than originally intended, but I mean, I am a college student, so I guess I should probably just keep my priorities straight, and then maybe I could film a feature by the end of the year. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day.